Hi, this brings me to my third video on probability and statistics. The other two was geometry and matrices, and you can find them on my YouTube channel. So this one says the pie chart represents the distribution of the population in a village. Calculate the percentage of the population who are girls. So the sector angle represented by girls is 81 degrees over 360 degrees. So you simply go ahead and multiply that by 100. So you're going to have 81 over 360, okay, degrees, multiply that by 100, 22.5. Okay, so then you have 22.5 for 2 marks. That is the answer. Okay. Right. The next one says, given that there are twice as many women as boys, so the boys we know they are represented by the sector angle of 54 degrees, and the women they will be twice that sector angle, which is 108 degrees. So this is 108 degrees. So from there to there. So if that is 180 degrees, then angle X can be calculated by subtracting the sum of all the other ones. Okay, you'll be saying, okay, wait a minute, let me take, oh my goodness. So this is going to take me back to an error that I had here, pressing the pen. So that's going to see, it's 81 plus 54 plus that 108 that I've calculated. Okay, and now you can actually use your calculator. So you say, wait a minute, it's going to be 360, take away 81 plus 54 plus 108. Okay, that gives you 117. Well, you can also simply say 81, 360 minus 81 minus 54 minus 108. You still get to the same answer. Okay. Given also that the number of boys is 432, calculate the total population of the village. So the boys' angle is 54 over 360, then we'll multiply that, or we use equivalent fractions rather. Okay, so you can go and check the angle sector for boys is 54 out of 360. I just want to simplify that a bit. So if I simplify that, I get 3 over 20. Okay, don't have to simplify, but I like to work with my things in simplest form. So the boys is on top, so 432 will be on top, and we're looking for the total population. Let me represent that by using x. So cross multiply, that's going to give you 3x is equal to 20 times 432. Of course, in order for you to get x, you can just simply divide that 20 that you multiplied with 432, you divide that by 3. Of course, if you do that, you get a total population of 2,880. Question 2. The probability. So let's make this one a bit smaller for us to be able to see the whole diagram. That Chaminda uses the internet on any day is 3 over 5. So remember, so this set here is going to be 2 over 5 because it should add up to 1. 3 over 5 plus 2 over 5 gives you 5 over 5, which is 1. So if that is 3 over 4, then this one here should be 1 over 4 because again 3 over 4 plus 1 over 4 should give you 1. Then this is 3 over 4 and this one is 1 over 4. Okay, that takes care of us completing the tree diagram. Calculate the probability that on any day, at least one, so it can be twice, at least one of the two learners uses the internet. Now, we can also say, okay, let's say they are not using the internet. Okay, so let's say 1 minus not using the internet. And when you say do not use the internet, do not use the internet, so I'm going to come to, let's highlight this, not using. So this is not using and not using. Okay, so that is going to be 2 over 5. When you go along the branches, you multiply. Okay, so we say 1 minus, so we have 2 upon 5 times 1 over 4. Okay, that's 9 over 10. So the answer is 9 over 10. So that is one way of answering this question. Another way, obviously, is a longer way. You can say, okay, let's say I'm going to use U for using and not using plus not using and using. So once I'm writing them like that, you will see that there's at least one scenario where somebody is using. Okay, so if you go back to your tree diagram, for using and not using, that's going to be 3 over 5 times 1 over 4. Okay, 3 over 5 times 1 over 4. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. So that is 3 over 5 times 1 over 4 plus not using, that is 2 over 5, not using, and using times 3 quarters. So 2 over 5 times 3 quarters. So I'm going to have, here I'm going to have 2 over 5 times 3 over 4. And using the internet, that means 3 over 5 times 3 over 4. 3 over 5 times 3 over 4, well, 3 over 5 times 3 over 4. Well, if you do that, you're going to get 9 over 10 as well. So whichever way you take it, that brings you to that answer. Calculate the probability that Chaminda uses the internet on 3 consecutive days. Okay, the probability that Chaminda uses it for 3 days in a row, we know that it's 3 over 5. That could be like day 1. Okay, because he uses 3 over 5. Day 2 the same, times 3 over 5. Day 3 the same, times 3 over 5. Okay, so that's going to be 27 over 125. That should be 100% correct. Okay, there will be some students who would go ahead and try to give decimal values, like I think this is 0.216. But remember, and this one here will be 0.9. There's no need also to go and write these things as percentages and stuff like that, but this is equivalent and you're going to get full marks. Question 3. 100 seeds were treated with fertilizer and the heights, age of the plants which grew are given in the cumulative frequency table below. Right, using a scale of 2 centimeters to represent 5 centimeters on the horizontal scale, I already did that. So if you had graph paper, then obviously 10 little small blocks here would be 2 centimeters. You just check. And then 2 centimeters represent 20 plants on the vertical axis. I also already entered that for you. So we're going to draw a cumulative frequency diagram. So we are going to have to complete the stuff. So one of the things that I always say to people, do this first, is to try to determine what does one little block represents on either axis. In this case, you have got 20 to represent over 10 because there are 10 blocks. So each block represents 0.2 on the cumulative frequency part. Okay, number of plants. And then obviously this one you have got 5 divided by 10, that gives you 0.5. It gives you a clear idea what does one small block represent. Right, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger just for me to complete what I have so far. So going to my table, between the class group of less than 5, it's 0. So maybe I'll use red. So I'm going to start off here then. And then less than 5 or equal to is 10. So that's 2, 0. Remember, we're now, this is actually not 0.2, but it is actually 2. My goodness gracious. Okay, so it's going to be 2, 4, 5 will be halfway in the middle there. Then 15, if you go, it's 25. So 15 will be 20 is here, 22, 24, 25 is all the way there. Then 20 is 85. Okay, so 20 is got all the way. That's 80, or 20 is here. That's 80, 82, 84, 85. And we have another one of less than 30. Less than 30 is all the way up to 100. Okay, so make it a bit smaller so that it can get in there. Not too small though. So 30 is going to be less than 100. That's where it needs to end. So your job is just now to simply join this curve, okay? Call it the cumulative frequency curve, or it's also called the OGIF. All right, now I've done it on the same document because the fact that if I have to draw this with my free hand using the software, I can easily make a mistake. But of course, um, you have got a paper in front of you that you can perhaps also turn. Okay, so that's horrible. So let's see. So the inside of the palm of your hand going all the way up to there, and then comes down quite straight, and then it turns some a bit slightly out, but you get the general idea. Okay, so that's how your curve will be. All right, so that's 5 marks, but in this case, I already have the axes and stuff like that, so that's how the curve should generally look like. All right, so in for the sake of the next questions, I'm going to use the curve that I already drew, all right, to answer that. Remember, it should be a smooth curve and don't use rulers to connect the points. Right, so they say find the median, the lower quartile, the interquartile range. The median is 50%, so I go to my curve. I have it here. So I'll go to my curve. So 50% of my value, all right? So I'm going to take 50, so that's 40, 50 will be here. And then I'm going to come down, okay, to see where we are at. Right, so 50%. Now remember what I said on the horizontal axis, each small block here, I said each small block represents 0.5, okay? So that's 15, that's 16, and that is 17. So for my median, I get 17. You can get 17.5. We generally will accept anything within a range when we are marking this. So my median, all right, you go to your 50% of those values. So my median is 17. Okay, the lower quartile, you find the lower quartile is 25% of the values, or 25% is the same as a quarter. Okay, now a quarter of 100, because it's 100 plants, is nothing but 25. So we're going to go to our cumulative frequency curve and we're going to draw lines again. So we're going to go and see where we get 25 on the cumulative frequency curve. Okay, so 25 is here where I have this little star, and you read down. So, well, it's actually very straightforward to read down because it's just going to be 15. Can you see that? All right, so that's 15. All right, so it's 15 centimeters. So my lower quartile is therefore 15 centimeters. Huh? Upper quartile will be 3/4 or 75%. All right, so lower quartile is 15 centimeters. Okay, so the interquartile range, we have got our lower quartile of 15. Our upper quartile, we need to find. So upper quartile, the way you find the Q sub 3 is 3/4 or 75% of the values. So 75% of 100, because it's 100, that gives you 75 plants, or the cumulative frequency. So let's go to 75 and see and read what do we get. So go down to my diagram. So where will 75% be? Not 75 or 75% of my values. Well, of course, that is 70, 72, 74. Okay, so 70, 72, 74, 75, slightly somewhere there. Okay, so we're going to have 60, so 70 is over here. Okay, 72, 74, 75. So let me try to bring it all the way here and see if it makes sense. I think let's take it slightly. Probably all the way over there. All right, more or less. Remember, it's an estimation. of these things. So this is going to be 17, so that is 18, so that is probably about 19, give or take. Okay, whatever your range is there. All right, so the upper quartile or Q sub 3 is 19. So I'm going to say that 19 take away 15. All right, so that's 19 take away 15. Now there's nothing but 4 centimeters. So normally we give you these answers in an acceptable range, like we could be saying any answer between, let's say, 4 to 4.5 will be accepted and stuff like that. But this one is quite straightforward, and this one should be 15. Good. Write down the number of plants in the group of the heights between 15 and 20. Now, once you go to the table, the group between 15 and 20. So we're going to have to take 85, subtract 25 in order for us to find out exactly the number of plants that are there. Okay, so you're going to say 85 minus 25. So it's 85 take away 25, and that should give you 60 plants. Good. Right, let's go to another question, B. Now I have included something here in the table. So this mid value you see is in red. It's not there in the original question. But I've done it because remember when we are saying you're supposed to find the mean, this is group data. So the number of plants between 0 and 5 centimeters are 10, but we don't know the actual number of each one of them. We just know that 10 of them has a height of more than 0 and less than or equal to 5. So 20 of them also then have a height between 5 and 10. So we don't know exactly, is it now 6 and 7 and so on, but we just have that group as it is there. So what we need to know is we're going to average out the group. Do you understand what I'm saying here? To say what is the average height of each one in this particular class and stuff like that. That's what we refer to as the mid values. And the way you find the mid value is you add the extremes. You add 5 plus 0 and you divide by 2. In this case, it will be 2.5. So simply say the average in that group is a half, or 2.5. The same in this side, we're going to say 10 plus 5. Okay, that gives you 15. Okay, in order to find the mid value, so you will be saying 10 plus 5, and that gives you 15. And finding half of that, so average will say this ones have a height of, say, about 7.5 centimeters. Doing the next one, so we're going to say again 10 add 15, and then you divide that answer by 2, which is about 12.5. So we'll say that the heights of these ones on average in this group between 10 and 15 is 12.5. Okay, the mid interval values are very important once you want to calculate the mean, and the mean is just an estimation. All right, so dividing that by 2 give you 17.5 there. Okay, so 20 plus 30 is 50, half of 50 is 25. Now I have the mid values. So how do you calculate the mean, which is an estimation? You take that mid value of 2.5, multiply it by the frequency, all right, and then you add. So I'm going to do it like so I can find what that is. So I'm going to take the second one, which is 7.5 times 20, plus the third one, which is 12.5 times 45, plus 17.5 times 23, and the last one there is 25 times 2. All right, now once we have whatever that value is, we are then going to divide it by 100. Né? So if you add this, add all of them, they should give you 100 as indicated in the question. Okay, so no need to go and draw a cumulative frequency table. That's not what we are doing here. So dividing then these values by 100, and then you simply grab your calculator and you work out what that stuff on top gives you. All right, so I have 2.5 times 10 plus 7.5. Okay, 7.5 times 20. I have 12.5 times 45 plus, in bracket, 17.5 times 23 plus 25. Okay, let's put it in brackets. Then we have 25 times 2, which is 50. And all of this, okay, let's go back. All of this should be divided by 100. Okay, get 11.9. Okay, 11.9. Okay, so what it is, if you do the numerator, you get 1,190 divided by 100. Okay, and then you get the average of the mean, which is now 11.9 centimeters. Good. When they say write down the class which contains the lower quartile, so the lower quartile, remember, the lower quartile represents 1/4 of the values. So when we are now finding 1/4 of the values, so 1/4 of 100, because this is 100, 1/4 of 100 is 25. So we're going to add a cumulative frequency and see where we are going to get 25. So if we have 10 plus 20, we get 30. So the 25 should be in this range 5 to 10. So the answer for this one will be in that class group of the height is less than 5 and greater than 5, less than or equal to 10. The 90%, so you just say 90% of the plants, which is 100. So, well, that's going to give you 90. So again, so this one's, you could say 1/4 of 100. So you get like 25, and then you go to your table. Then you go to the table, and also here we'll go to our table to see, as we're adding our frequencies, where will 90 be? All right, so let's go see. So when you add 10 plus 20, that's 30, okay, and 30 plus 45, that's 75, all right, and when you have 75 plus 23, that's 98. So this is going to add up to 98 once you're there. So 90 will be in this particular class group. Okay, so we add 10 plus 20 plus 45 plus 23. So that gives us 98. So the 90th is going to be in this class of the height is greater than 15 and less than or equal to 20. Okay, so the height less than or equal to 20 and greater than 15. 1 mark for doing that. Okay, and you should be fine from that point onwards. Okay, good luck with your studies. You can have a look and see how I work these things step by step, but you physically have to practice in order for you to succeed. So I did these 3 chapters because most of the schools and so on did not manage to finish these 3 chapters. So good luck with your examination and all the best.